Welcome to RevMd Podcast with me, your host, Dr. Debra Durst, and my co-host.
Hey guys, Farideh, nurse practitioner here at RevitalyzeMD.
So this is a fun topic today because we've heard some videos, podcast about this. And so less from a number standpoint, but more from a twist or perspective on it. We wanted to do a quick podcast on it, and that's vaginal size. And so who would ever really think about vaginal size? We hear about penis size and does size matter? And then there's been a couple, again, pretty popular videos and podcast on vaginal size.
And like canal length. I'm like, who cares about that?
Yes.
Do we care about that? Is that something? And then vaginal size, we're all different. Every vagina is different. Everyone looks different. We're all a little unique. And then length of the vaginal canal, I never really thought of as a number that would need to be known.
Yeah. No, me neither. And some of the numbers as we deep dove into it were very interesting, too complex. So we're going to make it a little more simple for you guys, just from that topic. But I think otherwise it's really kind of just our perspective on that. And so they're just more than a little different. They're almost like a fingerprint. Like the vagina and lips and fingers are unique to everyone. It's almost like a fingerprint. The lips are too. So you only have again, your lips, your fingertips, and your vagina. They're all going to identify just you. No two are alike. And so again, there's a wall of vaginas. You've seen it before.
I have.
And in fact, I think I want a piece of art that does that in my upcoming
It would be very
office.
Fitting.
Yeah,
it would be very fitting, Dr.
It would be
right behind your head. The first thing all the patients see when they walk in is your wall of vaginas.
A wall of vaginas, every single one of them being different. So again, if you've heard my story, I've worked ER. Now we do, lots of vaginal rejuvenation, and some of that treatment involves a facelift for the vagina with a laser. That's incredible, called the 4V, and it's on our website with before and after. So it's great. But I worked the ER for years. I have seen a ton of vaginas, done vaginal exams, and never once did I think, oh, it needs to be prettier, until we did our first 4V non-surgical laser treatment. And it was amazing, the before and after. So now I would say that sometimes they can look prettier.
And that's something I understand, right? I understand externally wanting less tissue, it to be tighter, or where there's atrophy to fill and make it more youthful. I never really thought much about vaginal canal length, though.
Yeah, no, well, and even if you think about the other topics that we've discussed, it was more about identifying features of external and, hair or no hair. Right. And so, but internal is not something that I've ever even thought of. And
unless
so it sounds like you haven't either.
Lubrication, blood flow, or tightening.
Or orgasmic. And orgasmic strength. Yeah.
So outside of those, I've never once thought about the length.
No, me neither. So
that organ anyway.
Yeah. So I will say that there's, so again, yes, there's a length and there's a diameter to it. And so 3 to 4 inches, and maybe 1 inch in width, so that's length and width, but
on average, unaroused.
And it increases. So the big thing that we have known, and I think really makes this other fact about length kind of irrelevant, is that it increases in length. It accommodates what is inside of it. And so it increases in length with arousal. And so that length is going to be variable, but there is one constant to that, and that it will never be longer than the penis.
Right? Because then you'd have a barrier and things would just stop.
Yeah, because it's accommodating. So it is going to accommodate. And so basically it's getting longer because it needs to get longer. And so the diameter is tighter at what we call the introitus, or the opening, and then it gets wider towards the cervix. And so even if you had a longer penis and a shorter vaginal canal, you would be up against the cervix, but ideally that is that's getting elongating and getting longer. And even if there was some outside of the penis, or the vulva or vagina. The labia minora and majora are meant to engorge and basically hug. There's meant to hug the penis. And so
I'm saving you all
yeah.
from
Yeah.
hand motions and the whole bit.
Oh,
Just
I
trust
had
me.
all kinds of hand motions. You don't want to see them because it's meant to accommodate. Like, again,
Yes.
it's going to change in size and accommodate. It is meant to make the penis inside of it feel very special because it is accommodating to that penis.
Yes,
and
very
so,
special.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Durst, how much length does it change when from unaroused to
So like up
aroused?
to an inch, it looks like from 0.25 or so to 1 in the studies. But again, somewhere around an inch or so.
What about
But
diameter? We know babies, we can expand quite a bit.
it's a little bit less. So again, I think it was up to like 0.5 or so, maybe even 0.25. But not much. Well, obviously a lot, that's with arousal.
Yes.
So with babies, obviously a lot more. And so the one question that seems to be, number one, it seems to be not a topic ever talked about before. So men were very curious about it. So I find that intriguing. I don't necessarily find the numbers that intriguing, but I find that intriguing. But also there were questions about, does it increase in size and get loose because of too much sex? And that is definitely a no. But for childbirth, that's a yes. It can happen. So,
And there are laser treatments, and we talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
To help with tightening and blood flow, orgasm strength, sensitivity, lubrication, all of those. But I guess when we talk about vaginal length, if there is dysfunction, if you are a little bit of a shorter vaginal canal length, I could see how maybe that could be an issue if you and your partner aren't matched appropriately. So then it would be making sure we're properly aroused prior to any interactions.
Key point. I think that drives it home because you just need to make sure that you're aroused because it's the arousal that is going to increase the width and increase the length. And so that is key that you make sure that, and a lot of arousal for women, number one, is in their head. And so 99% of sex for the woman is in their head. So you got to get in their head. And
So both parties need to feel special here, guys.
Yeah, it's true. And again, we have It's All About the Head video way back. That was going way back. I don't
It's a
even know
while
if
ago.
anyone wants to see that one because that was when we first started doing videos like 5 years ago. It was not pretty.
No,
Yeah.
don't look it up.
Yeah, it's a
It's
good
in the
thing.
archives. It's deep down buried in
It's
there.
All About the Head was it. But basically, if you stay in her head, then again,
You get
then-
engorgement of yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to say
Yep.
it. All right. So perfect. So I think that the big key is that yes, you can tighten. So childbirth or multiple children can potentially increase laxity. And so it's that friction for men and women that works for both of them. So you want that friction. So the tighter that can be, the more friction, the more, again, hugging the vaginal canal and the labia majora and minora are meant to hug the penetrating penis. That's just the facts. You didn't do any hand motions with it at all.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
No hand motions. But basically, it is meant to do that. But if in between childbirth, we actually did some laser treatments where if you look at the vaginal canal from a cross section, we're actually just putting the laser down and surface heating on most of our lasers. We do have some that can penetrate the tissue and drive energy into the vaginal wall more. But
As long as
basically,
microneedle.
yeah.
So, and cause little microchannels to help with healing as well.
But most of it is just surface heating and very comfortable. But if women knew that that was possible, that they can surface heat and regenerate, which increases blood flow, increases collagen elastin, so tightening, increased blood flow, lubrication, sensitivity, and tightening. So, and improvement in urinary support, that this could be done in between deliveries and never progress later, or if that wasn't thought of or known of or still isn't, that you can do it after the fact and do a series of those and still get the tightening, the urinary control, the orgasmic strength, the sensitivity, the lubrication, which is a function of blood flow. So all those things.
It's all about improving vaginal health. So, in all seriousness, the treatments are phenomenal to help with all of those things. They can be done at any time, pre-children, in between childbirth, or in between family planning, or even post family planning. And I think what's really key is that it is non-invasive. This is a very comfortable treatment. It's a fairly quick treatment when we're talking about a treatment that gives so much back, where the treatment itself is 25 minutes max. So you can get in and out of the office pretty easily. And it's extremely beneficial for the vaginal tissue.
Yes.
And the pelvic floor.
Yeah. Well, and then those are lasers that will actually tighten, again, all of that functional improvement in the vaginal canal and supporting tissues. But also, there is an EMS device to the pelvic floor because that also improves and affects the size, which is ultimately what the video is about. But if you have pelvic floor that is strong and healthy, then everything is functioning and accommodating the way that it should be. And so those are important. And then even injectables that we do. So the point is yes, there's a size. It's a variable for everyone. It's not as big as somebody would think, and definitely not as big as the average penis size, which we've done another video on. So, but the point is
So it
that
accommodates most.
it accommodates most. And what we never talk about it not being accommodating, like not fitting, right? That's probably the
correct.
exception rather than the rule. And we know the average penis size is like 5.5 inches. And if this is 0.25 or so, or no, 3 to 4 inches, that we know has to result in some kind of elongation, or we'd be talking about a misfit way more often than we are. So it was a great video and great topics for us to hear a couple. We just wanted to kind of give our view on it that, yeah, it's smaller than you thought. Yes, it elongates and hugs and accommodates whatever is inside of it, but also that it can be treated if ever there isn't that friction and that hugging that's going on.
That's going to say, and more importantly, there are
Yeah.
regenerative treatments
Correct.
to help with that laxity,
Yeah.
if there is some.
And that, I think, was the takeaway, is that sex isn't going to cause it, but other things do cause it. It's very common with women. And as we hit perimenopause and menopause, and there's about 6,000 women a day that enter menopause. So it's a significant proportion of our population. And even the perimenopause that happens, or childbirth that happens at lots of different ages. So just think, there are treatments for it. And so it can hug and accommodate just like it's supposed to.
So
Right.
if you have any experience with any of these treatments or have any questions, please drop them below in the comments. We love to read them and respond to you guys. And it also lets us know where we may go on our next podcast.
Yeah, we'd love to hear the comments, and it should be a very entertaining interaction, but also just the fact that we said that there is no penis that's longer, or the vaginal canal is never going to be longer than the penis. I'm sure there'll be lots of comments just from that one alone, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
So definitely let us know what your thoughts are. I'm sure there'll be lots of them, and we look forward to hearing it. And let us know if there's anything else that you want to deep dive into, because we are willing. So thank you for listening.